I'm sorry. What? On the flight, I couldn't help myself when I saw a flight attendant walking around showing her underwear, so I stood up and approached her. Sir! Oh no, is this a pervert? Here, of all places? The flight attendant screamed, and the surrounding passengers went into a frenzy. All because I got too close to her. How long do you plan to keep touching me? She glared at me with tears in her eyes. But right after that, I'd like to see you later. A message she sent to me. That was the unexpected beginning of our evening together. Ladies and gentlemen, the aircraft is now cruising. The seatbelt sign turns off with the in-flight announcement. The tension that was in the air since takeoff finally eases a little. Passengers' voices start to rise from all around the cabin. Look, Mom, we're flying in the sky. Where should we go first when we get there? I love this moment. My name is Bradley, and I'm 28 years old. Right now, I'm on a domestic flight for work. Would you like something to drink? Now that the plane has leveled off, the flight attendant, or FA, starts walking down the aisle with the cart. I consider ordering a coffee as I gaze out the window. The weather has been clear since morning, and the view outside is more spectacular than ever. Are we looking at the same thing right now, I wonder? Sir? Whoa! I was so engrossed in the view outside that I didn't notice her until she spoke to me. The FA had reached my seat at the front of the plane without me realizing it. Because I suddenly raised my voice, she looked at me with wide eyes. I'm sorry, I was worried you might not be feeling well. No, I'm fine, I'm sorry. I apologized and asked for coffee, then she replied with a bright smile, certainly. I couldn't help but be captivated by her smile. What a beautiful person, with such a gorgeous smile, I thought. People often say FAs are often beautiful, and seeing her, I had to agree. Her features are, of course, striking, and her brisk movements exude elegance. Her posture, standing tall and straight, is stunning as well. I couldn't help but follow her movements with my eyes until she handed me the cup of coffee. Here you go. It's hot, so please be careful. Oh, thank you. Smiling again, she turned around to attend to a passenger calling from the back. And that's when it happened. There was a snap, a sound like something popping. What was that? Although I frequently fly for work, I had never heard a sound like that before. Looking around to find the source of the noise, I glanced behind me and almost shouted, "Oh no!" The sound came from the flight attendant's skirt. The hook on her waist had broken, causing the seams of her skirt to open wide on both sides. And as she moved, the zipper started to slide down on its own. Oh no, I can't take this anymore. The moment her white underwear became visible through the opening of the zipper, I stood up from my seat and hurriedly took off my jacket. I'm sorry. What? As I covered the flight attendant's waist with my jacket, she turned around at the same time. In that instant, in my haste, I accidentally tripped. Sir, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to save her from embarrassment and secretly tell her about the skirt while covering her with my jacket. But because I tripped, I lost my balance, and to onlookers, it looked like I was hugging her. Oh no, is this a pervert? What? A passenger who saw the scene muttered in a rather loud voice, which triggered the others. The other passengers began to stir, saying things like a pervert, here, and leaned into the aisle, all eyes now on us. I'm sorry. It's not what it looks like. I hurriedly distanced myself from her, trying to explain. But even so, I couldn't let go of the flight attendant's waist. If I did, the jacket would fall, and her underwear would be completely exposed. Then, at that moment, how long do you plan to keep touching me? She muttered in a low voice that only I could hear, then looked up and glared at me sharply. Her face looked like she was about to cry. Summer? What? Seeing her face, a name slipped from my lips. For a brief moment, the flight attendant furrowed her brows in confusion. Bradley? With a surprised expression, she said my name. Thanks for earlier, and sorry. I was a bit suspicious. It was after the plane had landed, and I was taking a break in the airport lobby. The flight attendant from earlier walked towards me. She was holding my neatly folded jacket. My skirt is fixed now, thanks to you. Oh, that's good, I'm glad to hear that. After she noticed the problem with her skirt, She hurried to the restroom, leaving me to spend the rest of the flight feeling like I was sitting on pins and needles because of the misunderstanding. But if she's Summer, my high school classmate, managed to avoid embarrassment, then it was worth it. I have to catch my next flight. See you later, Bradley. As soon as I took my jacket from her, Summer hurriedly ran back across the lobby. Watching her busy back, I thought. Then I noticed a note attached to my jacket. If you have time, I'd like to see you later. Seeing her familiar handwriting made my heart skip a beat. Summer, you made your dream come true. This chance encounter wasn't just with any classmate. She was the one I had a crush on 12 years ago. My name is Summer Winters. Isn't it funny to have both summer and winter in my name? It was the day we started high school. The girl sitting next to me said that, and her smile was as bright as the sun. No, I don't think it's strange or anything. Even before she spoke to me, I was already nervous because a cute girl was sitting next to me. With her smiling like that, I couldn't even think of responding properly. I just looked down and answered as best as I could. Nice to meet you, Bradley. Despite my unfriendly demeanor, Summer showed no sign of being bothered and extended her hand towards me. Ha! Let's shake hands. As in nice to meet you and let's get along handshake. What? In that moment, my heart was pounding so hard that I can't even remember if I shook hands with Summer or not. With her cute and incredibly cheerful personality, she quickly became the class favorite. I always watched her from afar, who was constantly surrounded by people. I couldn't possibly confess, I fell in love at first sight, even if the world were ending. I want to be a flight attendant. One day during lunch, Summer was unusually alone. As she unwrapped her bento box at her desk, she suddenly started talking to me. Bradley, have you ever flown on a plane? No, I haven't, but a flight attendant means cabin crew, right? Yes, that's right, I want to become a flight attendant. I haven't told anyone else yet. No one yet? So I was the first person to know about Summer's dream. I felt my heart skip a beat as she flashed me a bright smile. Do you think I can become a flight attendant, Bradley? In my mind, I immediately thought, you can do it. I heard that flight attendants need to be tall, because they have to help passengers with luggage in the overhead compartments. Summer, who was nearly 5 feet 7 inches and excelled at basketball in gym class, seemed perfect for it. Not to mention her kind personality and her attentiveness to others. I'm sure she'd quickly notice if any passengers needed help. I don't think you can do it, being a flight attendant. The words that came out were the opposite of what I felt because I was too shy. I imagined her as an adult, wearing the flight attendant uniform with a bright smile. In response to my words, Summer murmured, "Oh, that's right. If I stay like this, it's impossible." Summer? Please, Bradley. Be my teacher. What? From that day after school, I started teaching Summer English. Isn't English an essential skill for flight attendants? But I've always been clueless when it comes to English. I'm glad you agreed. Can I thank you with some bread from the school store? You don't have to. I'm not in any clubs at school, so I have time. I wasn't good at socializing, and my only merit was that my grades were above average. Inwardly, I was thrilled at the once-in-a-lifetime chance to get closer to the girl I had a crush on, thinking, yes. This structure is the present perfect tense we learned recently, so, like this. Do you get it? Let me see. When Summer tilted her head, a soft floral scent reached me. Each time, my heart would race, and I'd think things I could never tell her. I hope she never gets the hang of English. Oh, I get it now. Summer was already smart, so she quickly understood everything I taught her. Look. I improved by 30 points on the test. Maybe you're a genius for teaching me English, Bradley. No, I'm not. You should become a teacher. You'd be great at it. I can't. I probably couldn't even talk to the students. Is that so? Well then. Bradley, you should become a pilot. Summer casually suggested this. A pilot. Yeah. Since you're so smart, I think you'd make a great airplane pilot. No. That's way harder than becoming a teacher. If I become a flight attendant and you're the pilot of my plane, we could be together even when we're adults. What? Summer had a habit of saying outrageous things like that without a second thought. She was unaware of how nervous it made me, leaving me always worried that I might misunderstand her intentions. But eventually, those days came to an end. Hey, Brad. Did you seriously write "I want to be a pilot" on your career survey? About 3 months after I started spending time with Summer after school. While waiting for her in an empty classroom as usual, it was not Summer but a classmate named Adam who came in. Hey, what's the deal? You aiming to be a pilot, Bradley? We had been at the same school for half a year, coming from different middle schools, but Adam, who I had never spoken to before, put his arm around my shoulder with an overly familiar grin. It was clear he was mocking me. How do you know about that? I overheard you and Summer talking about it. I was curious if you were serious about it. Adam went to the same middle school as Summer. He had great grades and was excellent at sports. Unlike me, he was also good at socializing and had a lot of friends. There were even rumors that he liked Summer. I felt inferior and didn't like Adam very much. And at this moment, I clearly realized I hated him. What if it's true? Oh, really? Like that could never happen. What do you mean? Did you even check how much pilot training costs? It's at least $100,000. No way you could afford it, Bradley. Didn't know. Adam was saying this because my family was poor. About 2 weeks earlier, my father had suddenly passed away in an accident. With the loss of our family's breadwinner, my mother, who had been a homemaker, was managing to keep things going by working part-time jobs. I had 2 younger brothers, so just getting by was challenging enough. I didn't need Adam to tell me that I needed to give up on my budding dream. I'm not going to be a pilot. Is that so? Well, maybe I'll do it then. You know, my dad's a CEO, so I've got the luxury of trying the exams 2 or 3 times if needed. Adam? Right then, Summer, who had been running late, poked her head in. See you later, Adam said with a bright smile, giving me a pat on the shoulder as he left the classroom. Oh, Summer, I can teach you English. Bradley seems to be busy with all his family stuff. Oh, really? I'm sorry, I didn't know. It's okay. I didn't want Summer to know that I was taking care of the housework and looking after my brothers, while my mom worked, or that I was looking for a part-time job, because we probably wouldn't be able to afford tuition otherwise. That 1 hour after school with Summer was the only thing that kept me going. It wasn't long after Summer told me, "I'll have Adam teach me English," my family decided to move. We were going to live in the countryside where my mom's parents lived, as the cost of living was cheaper there than where we were now. When my mother told me we were moving, the first thing that came to mind was, I should confess to Summer. Even if nothing came of it, I knew I'd regret leaving without telling her how I felt. Summer, can I talk to you after school today? There's something I need to tell you. Summoning all my courage, I spoke to her at the desk next to mine. Knowing about my transfer, Summer didn't give me her usual bright smile. Instead, she looked down and mumbled, "Sorry." Oh. I guess you need to study English. It's not that. Bradley, can you be in the classroom after school today? What? There's something Laura wants to tell you. Laura was the classmate Summer was closest to at the time. Not knowing why, I waited in the classroom after school for Laura. And then, Bradley, I've liked you for a while. What? I was confessed to by Summer's best friend before I could tell Summer how I felt about her. After that, things became awkward between Summer and me. In the end, I never confessed, and the day of the transfer arrived. I'll become a flight attendant. I'll keep studying hard and, definitely. The last time I saw Summer, her eyes were full of tears. With a face that looked like she was about to cry, she handed me an envelope labeled, "To Bradley," and made a promise. You'll be a pilot too, right, Bradley? When we're on the same plane, we can fly together one day. Promise. I couldn't say either yes or I can't. I silently turned my back on her and left the school. It's been 12 years since then. Time sure flies. Yes, it's been 12 years since then, and today, I ran into Summer by pure chance. Thanks for coming. Are you sure it's okay with your schedule? Sitting across from me, she first expressed concern about my plans. That's just like Summer. Even though she looked so much more grown up, she was still the same on the inside, the same girl I had once liked. I'm just staying at a hotel tonight. That's great. So, can we have a drink together tonight? Sure. As always, she was good at making my heart skip a beat. When I laughed and said, I'd love to, Summer smiled brightly. Her smile was just as bright as the sun, just like back then. The note she handed me had the name of a restaurant near the airport. Arriving a little late, Summer wore a light green dress that matched the early summer season. Her makeup was more subdued than when she was on the plane, giving her a slightly youthful appearance. Even so, she was still a beautiful, mature woman. Even knowing she was a former classmate, I felt nervous around her. How's your mom doing, Bradley? Oh, she's doing well. She's farming with my grandparents now. My brothers have moved out, so she's just enjoying life at a leisurely pace. Have you been back to your family home, Summer? I've been too busy lately, so not really. I don't think I'll make it this summer either. Well, your work is busiest when everyone else is on holiday. As we ate dinner together, my nerves gradually eased, and we started to chat freely. Naturally, the conversation turned to my current situation. So, what are you doing for work these days, Bradley? I'm just an office worker. You know, the usual. I'm here on a business trip. I looked away from Summer slightly out of guilt. I wasn't able to keep the promise I made to her. I never became a pilot after all. I think you knew, Summer. Back then, things were pretty hard at home. Yes. It finally calmed down after a few years, but by that time, I didn't qualify to be a pilot anymore. What? It's my eyes. I pointed to my eyes. To be an airplane pilot, you must pass a legally mandated physical exam. Since pilots are responsible for so many lives, a vision test is naturally part of that. My eyesight didn't meet the passing criteria. I wear contacts now, but I still don't meet the requirements. When I realized that, I finally gave up. My mother worked day and night to raise 3 children. Even so, she managed to scrape together the entrance fee and said, "Now you can go to college." I was grateful and took out loans to attend university. While studying, I also worked several part-time jobs to help my mom with my brother's education, and that's about all I remember. Those 4 years were busy. Even so, I still wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to keep my promise to Summer. Some airlines train their pilots in-house, so even though I couldn't attend a flight school, I thought there might still be a path. But it might have been because I studied late into the night after work. When I started my 3rd year, my eyesight suddenly took a big dive. I was just about to start my job search and was looking for airlines with pilot training programs. I thought you must be doing great on your path to becoming a flight attendant. I mean, you must be close to achieving your dream by now. Compared to that, I felt like I'd thrown away our promise. I felt pathetic. Is that why you never contacted me? I waited for you, you know. I'm sorry. On the day I transferred, Summer handed me an envelope. The letter inside expressed gratitude for teaching her English and included her phone number. She had suggested many times, let's exchange numbers, but I always turned her down out of embarrassment. In truth, I really wanted to exchange numbers. But once I finally got her number in the end, I never contacted her. Bradley. In a slightly angry tone, Summer said my name. Suddenly, she downed her glass of wine in one go. Summer. Seriously, what is wrong with you? What do you mean, oh? I had a realization. Could Summer be talking about what happened 12 years ago? About what happened right before I transferred schools. I'm sorry. I didn't really know Laura that well. We'd hardly talked, so when she suddenly said she liked me, I thought it was some kind of prank. I'm not talking about you rejecting Laura. Summer raised her voice, her face slightly flushed from the alcohol. But when the surrounding customers all turned to look at her, she shrugged her shoulders and, lowering her voice, whispered, I'm sorry. Why are you so lacking in confidence? What? I would have been happy to hear from you, no matter what. You've worked so hard, and you were trying to keep our promise. Summer. Today, I realized something. No matter who you are, Bradley, She lifted her face and looked at me directly. Her eyes, clear and bright as if they could draw me in, glistened slightly with tears. They were so beautiful that I forgot what I wanted to say and just stared back. Bradley, back then, I couldn't say it because of Laura, but yeah. I couldn't hear the voices of the other customers or the classical music playing in the restaurant. It felt like my entire body became one big ear, listening intently to the words Summer was about to say. About you, Bradley. Hey, are you by any chance Brad? No, Bradley, right? Summer's voice was drowned out by a sudden shout. The person making a scene while pointing at me was a rugged man with suntan skin, a sharp face, and a crisp white shirt. I realized immediately who it was. Adam? That's right. It's been a while, Bradley. How have you been? Adam. Like Summer, he was a former classmate of mine and a person with whom I had a bit of a history. Oh, and Summer, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to see you here with Bradley. Adam. With a troubled expression, Summer stood up. Then she wobbled unsteadily on her feet. Are you okay, Summer? I think I had a little too much to drink. I'll be right back after I fix my makeup. She went to the restroom, and Adam took the opportunity to plop down into the seat she vacated. He shot me a sharp glare. I'll let it slide just this once. What do you mean? For having dinner with Summer. You know she's seeing me now, right? What? In the past, Adam and I were rivals in love. We both had feelings for Summer. But Adam had declared triumphantly that he was the one who won her heart. And? Oh, by the way, I actually became a pilot. I'm working for the same airline as Summer. In fact, I was on the plane you flew in on today. Just to be clear, it wasn't my dad's connections. I mean, he paid for it, but I got the job on my own merits. Really? You get it, right, Bradley? Impatient with my lack of reaction, Adam stood up abruptly. He leaned over and got right in my face. Stay away from Summer from now on. I'm the one flying with her now. I'll be the one to make her happy. The competition is long over. The moment I got into flight school. No, the moment you were born into a family without money. Under the table, he stomped hard on my foot, as if that was the final word, then sat back in his chair with a satisfied grin. Just then, Summer returned. Oh, Adam, that's my seat. Sorry. Since I'm here, I thought I'd have a quick bite, too. I need to go over tomorrow's flight. You never do that. Sorry, Bradley. No, it's fine. So they were dating. Thinking about it, they seemed closer than just childhood friends. Summer looked apologetic as she didn't chase Adam away. While they discussed work, I tried to make myself invisible, shrinking into silence. I'm sorry we didn't get to talk much. Do you want to go somewhere else? Once we left the restaurant, Summer suggested that. But Adam was standing behind her, giving me a piercing glare, so I shook my head. No, I don't want to get in the way. In the way? It's getting late. I have work tomorrow, so I'll head out. Oh, that's a shame, especially since we finally got to see each other. Hearing Summer's words made me feel incredibly grateful. I was glad to have fallen for her, and despite my broken heart, I felt strangely at peace. I wish you happiness. Take care. I turned my back to Summer and started walking toward the hotel. I wasn't sure how far I'd walked. Suddenly, I heard the click-clack of someone running in heels behind me. No. What? With a loud thud, something hit my back hard. Surprised, I turned around to see Summer clinging to my back, panting for breath. Sorry, my legs just gave out. Are you okay? Why were you in such a hurry? Because I almost forgot to ask you something important. Something important. Regaining her balance and taking a deep breath, Summer stood straight and faced me. We'll meet again, right? Ignoring the passers-by, we gazed at each other. Summer. Hey, we haven't finished preparing for tomorrow. Let's go. Oh, Adam. The words I wanted to say, I really do want to see you again, were interrupted by Adam, who had followed Summer. He grabbed her arm and pulled her away from me. Don't make a move on Summer. If I see you again, remember this. He spat out that as he left. See you, Bradley. For sure. Summer glanced back at me several times as she disappeared into the bustling city with Adam. The two of them would be alone together from here on out. Let's go. Pushing aside the thoughts that had started creeping in, I turned around and walked back to the hotel. Goodbye, Summer. The next day, I was at the airport again for work. So this is the place. When I reached the meeting spot, the person I was supposed to meet hadn't arrived yet. Instead, Bradley? What are you doing here? The person lounging on a sofa noticed me and sat up. Adam. Hey, how'd you get in here? This is a special lounge only for selected people. Indeed. I was meeting someone in the special lounge at the airport. This calm and dimly lit space was lined with luxurious leather sofas. And the marble floor was polished so thoroughly that it made you hesitate to step on it. A private bar was also available, where you could enjoy drinks from around the world at any time. This so-called VIP room was reserved for only a select few first-class passengers. Come on, give me a break. Are you going to hang around me now, not just Summer? No, it's not like that. I found it odd that Adam was here. Yawning as if he were at home, Adam stood up with a weary sigh, saying, "Oh, boy." He was wearing a pilot's uniform. It looked like he had a flight coming up. There are always customers who barge in uninvited, and they're always from economy class. I guess you need to be in a certain social class to figure out where you belong. What are you trying to say? Oh, I guess you didn't get it. They say that if there's a 20-point IQ difference, a conversation won't make sense, right? Bradley, who used to compete with me in grades, must have worn out his brain with work. Since I stayed silent, Adam lay back down on the sofa. He kicked off his shoes and lounged around as if he owned the place. Though he was just another employee at the airline operating this lounge. Are you allowed to be here, Adam? Me? Oh yeah, no problem. It's like my own room. I always rest here before a flight. I see. That being said, you get it now, right, Bradley? His smug face said more than words ever could, that he had everything I didn't. A career as a pilot. The right to come and go from this VIP lounge as he pleased, and Summer. So, I'm going to take another nap. Time for you to leave, Bradley, since you came in by mistake. No. I'm here for a reason. A reason? As if you'd have. Here, Adam's expression shifted to one of sudden realization. A grin spread across his face. Are you here to clean? What? That makes sense. Go on, do your thing. What are you? You're a cleaner, right? Does Summer know you've fallen to that kind of job? What? What made me suddenly angry wasn't being mistaken for a janitor. It was Adam's tone, which looked down on both me and the cleaning profession. Adam, don't you know? Ha! He noticed the change in my expression. He sat up from the sofa and looked at me in confusion. Then, it happened all at once. He suddenly jumped up from the sofa as if he had been jolted by electricity. Mr. Irwin! What are you doing here? The person glaring at Adam with a suspicious look is a man even I knew. He is the president of the airline that managed this lounge, Mr. Irwin. This isn't a place for staff to take a break. Of course. Hey, you there, get out of here. Now. At first, Adam turned pale at Mr. Irwin's sudden appearance, but then he regained his confidence and grabbed my arm tightly. Get out of here, you loser janitor. He tried to drag me toward the exit, but that's when it happened. I asked you what you were doing, Adam. The windows in the lounge seemed to shake with the force of Mr. Irwin's voice as he yelled at Adam. I meant, you. How dare you talk like that to Bradley? Apologize to him immediately. What? Bradley? I apologize, Bradley. I'm sorry for my employee's behavior. Mr. Irwin bowed his head to me, his face pale. He was, in fact, the person I was supposed to meet. But Adam, still unable to grasp the situation, stood there with his mouth agape. Bradley, are you some kind of VIP? Don't be disrespectful, you fool. Our company wouldn't be here without him. What? Mr. Irwin pushed down on Adam's head with one hand. He forced Adam to bow his head to me and said, "It's been a while. Thank you for all your help back then." Then, to a man over 30 years younger than himself, he gave a perfect, deep bow. I had to give up my dream of becoming a pilot due to my eyesight. After graduating from college, I got a job at a consulting firm in Tokyo, working on business turnarounds and performance improvement for companies. A few years later, when I began to be trusted with work independently. "Bradley, how about helping turn around an airline?" "What?" Thanks to a suggestion from my boss, Tyler, I ended up getting involved in an industry I never thought I'd be a part of. "You're just going to tell us to cut labor costs? We don't have enough staff as it is." About 6 months ago, Mr. Irwin was much like Adam is now. He looked down on people in jobs that weren't directly related to the company's operations, like cleaning, which were essential to keeping the company running. He didn't realize his employees were becoming disengaged and was trying to save costs by cutting wages and relying on unpaid overtime to keep the company afloat. But it was like trying to put out a fire with a cup of water, and in the end, after persuasion from shareholders and executives, he reluctantly hired my firm as consultants. No, I don't intend to suggest any layoffs. There are plenty of other ways to turn around a company. I see. My deliberately challenging words seemed to pique Mr. Irwin's interest. He ordered his secretary to bring over a thick file. "What's this?" "It's data for the 200 airplanes we operate." I don't dislike cocky youngsters, but I hate hearing them talk big without knowing anything. "So first, how about you memorize this?" He smirked as he watched me flip through the file without a word. His expression made it clear that he thought, "You won't understand a thing just by looking at it." I took my time and went through the entire file. "This aircraft is the same model as the one that had an accident in America last year." I handed the file back to the president, pointing to a specific page. "I believe it is." "You're quite knowledgeable, aren't you?" The cause of the accident was aging. A typical passenger aircraft has a lifespan of about 20 to 25 years. Since this one is nearing 20 years, you should probably strengthen inspections. Good point. Well, then, let me show you something. I placed a file I had brought with me in front of Mr. Irwin. It was several times thicker than the one he had shown me. As he looked at it in surprise, I began flipping through the pages. First, look at this data. Domestic airlines A and B have a sufficient ratio of employees to company size. I believe this company also has enough staff, but the issue is the concentration of employees in certain departments. This is a summary of a case in Italy where a company in financial difficulty reduced excessive services for passengers. When comparing the recent jet fuel prices, costs can be reduced by flying through this country. If you reflect that in the ticket prices, you can see. With each page I turned, Mr. Irwin's face grew paler. Then, before I even reached the halfway point, Mr. Irwin suddenly called out, "Wait. I understand, you're well versed in various areas of this industry. You've studied well, but for a mere consultant, I knew too much." Only 3 days after he had hired me, Mr. Irwin pointed out the depth of my knowledge. I corrected his words. 11 years. Pardon. 11 years, Mr. Irwin. That's how long I've wanted to enter this industry. Until I found out about my eyesight issues, I was determined to become a pilot. Even when my mom said, "It's okay, you don't need to worry about money anymore," I continued working multiple part-time jobs to save up for flight school. I studied the airline industry day and night for preparation. Even after realizing I couldn't become a pilot, I couldn't switch my mindset. It became a habit to keep up with news about the airline industry. That continued even after I started working. Even though I wasn't part of the airline industry, I might have known more about it than people who actually worked in it. So what do you think, Mr. Irwin? Based on my observations, I believe there are many areas for improvement in your company. Will you entrust me with the task? Yes, please. I'm counting on you, Bradley. The advice Bradley gave us, based on his vast knowledge, was incredibly accurate. Thanks to him, our company didn't just avoid bankruptcy.
It grew to become one of the leading companies in the industry. And
The reason I clean the office every morning is, of course, thanks to Bradley's advice.
what? You didn't know, Adam?
I'm the one who keeps not only the company but also the floor of this lounge sparkling clean.
What?
Along with various management reforms, one of the suggestions I made to Mr. Irwin was about cleaning.
Walking around the office while cleaning would surely reveal many problems.
And it would help them realize that cleaning is not a job to be looked down upon.
Since I started cleaning myself, I realized how foolish I'd been. Every job and position has its challenges and merits. There is no one you should ever look down on. No way. Finally, Adam realized.
He realized that in front of Mr. Irwin, he had not only mistaken me for a janitor but also disparaged the cleaning profession. His face went pale as he continued to glare at me with frustration and said, "You should have told me sooner if that's the case." But he was quickly stopped by Mr. Irwin, who berated him again.
What, you haven't learned your lesson yet? I'm sorry. I've heard rumors.
There's a pilot who likes to throw around his father's name, a shareholder, to do whatever he pleases. He forces other employees to do menial tasks and covers up his slacking. I can't believe he's even using this lounge for himself.
I'm sorry, it won't happen again.
Not to mention, you've left dirty footprints on the floor I cleaned with care. This proves you neglect to shine your shoes. How can a pilot who can't even keep his shoes clean be trusted with the safety of passengers? You'll be removed from your duties for a while and go back to basics and retrain.
No way. With Mr. Irwin's reprimand, Adam collapsed onto the floor.
Though he had been promoted to co-pilot, he was removed from piloting duties and would have to retrain alongside the rookies.
Every morning,
he'd join Mr. Irwin in cleaning the company. Everyone in the company saw him like this, and his pride was shattered. He became scared of being seen and started living as if he were hiding from everyone.
My apologies for keeping you waiting, Bradley. Let's head to the company right away.
Yes, of course. I look forward to it today. Encouraged by Mr. Irwin, I finally left the lounge. It was almost 6 months after the consultation ended, so today was like a regular checkup. I wanted to see for myself if any new management issues had arisen. I felt that Mr. Irwin would be okay now, though. By the way, Bradley, about what we discussed the other day. Mr. Irwin suddenly turned around, smiling widely.
The other day. I won't let you forget.
I'm talking about the arranged marriage with my daughter.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on that today.
Oh, right, that.
Please. Bradley, I wouldn't mind skipping the engagement and heading straight to marriage.
Ha ha. I had laughed it off many times before, but Mr. Irwin was getting more enthusiastic. It seemed like it wouldn't be long before he brought his daughter to the office.
How was I going to talk my way out of this one? It seemed more challenging than turning around the company. The next day,
I was waiting for my flight back to Tokyo in the airport lobby.
Then, someone sat down in the seat next to me. Summer.
So it was you, Bradley. You were the one who helped save our company. Summer said with a bright smile. She had been curious about who had saved the company from bankruptcy 6 months ago. This morning, the topic came up at work, and she learned the consultant's name for the first time.
It turned out to be me.
So maybe we passed each other at the company many times without noticing.
Me too.
I can't believe you were so close all this time.
What a surprise. She chuckled in her flight attendant uniform, looking more beautiful than ever.
I realized I still had feelings for her.
I love Summer's smile.
Her bright personality, how she can be a bit of a scatterbrain while still being so reliable.
But, Summer, you're with Adam.
Hey, Bradley, what did you mean by I wish you happiness?
What? The night before last. Who am I supposed to be happy with? Wait, you're not with Adam?
As soon as I said it, Summer began waving her hands wildly.
No, no. There's nothing like that between us. What? Adam's been spreading those rumors at work on his own. What? According to Summer,
Adam was so serious about her that he became a pilot just to be with her. But since Summer didn't care about him, Adam started working his way from the outside in.
He spread lies to their coworkers, saying that they were dating. It's been a real problem.
When he says he needs to talk about work, I can't ignore it, right?
It could be important.
But then people start saying it's a date.
Oh. I realized there was another thing I liked about Summer.
How serious and responsible she was about her job.
She truly loved her work as a flight attendant. And I've liked someone else since middle school.
What?
I felt like I'd been struck in the head.
Summer, unaware of my feelings, gave me a bright, happy smile.
You've helped me again. Back in high school with English and with the company.
And also, during high school entrance exams.
You've always helped me, Bradley. During the exams.
Oh,
so you really don't remember?
Look. Saying that, she messed up the neatly arranged bangs she had for her flight, hiding her eyes. Then she curved her lips downward into a pout.
Oh, you were that girl? Memories from long ago suddenly came rushing back to me.
On the day of the high school entrance exam, there had been heavy snowfall in the area since morning. I was walking carefully to the exam venue, trying not to slip.
Suddenly, someone came running up behind me. No!
A girl wearing a uniform from another middle school slipped and fell spectacularly as she passed me.
Thank you. She took my outstretched hand hesitantly and got up. She was quite tall.
She had long legs like a model, but she was hunched over with her long bangs hiding her eyes, and she seemed nervous and timid.
Thank you, thank you.
She kept looking back at me and bowing her head repeatedly.
Watching her, I thought it was a shame.
Just the night before, there was a TV program featuring airports. They said taller people have an easier time handling overhead luggage. If she straightened her back, she would excel and look great in those uniforms.
You said I'd make a great flight attendant or something. I thought about it a lot during the exam. Even though I didn't think I could ever be like those amazing people on TV. But I wanted to try. That one comment of mine sparked her interest in becoming a flight attendant.
After the exams were over, she researched how to become one and decided she needed to change herself first. After I cut my bangs, practiced walking with a straight back, and spent lots of time practicing my smile in front of the mirror, something strange happened. I started liking my height, which I used to hate. And I grew to like looking people in the eye and smiling. Because of my dream of becoming a flight attendant, I began to like who I was.
So, it's all thanks to you.
Your words, Bradley,
saved me when I was full of insecurities.
Summer, who actually became a flight attendant, smiled brightly like the sun.
Summer, so you were that girl from back then. That boy has always been the one I like. Even if Bradley gets married someday.
Wait, married? Summer tilted her head and asked, "Isn't that right?" seeing my surprise.
Because someone at work said they heard a rumor about you,
the amazing consultant who saved the company,
having an arranged marriage with Mr. Irwin's daughter.
The president was so excited, saying it was only a matter of time before the wedding.
No. That's a misunderstanding.
A misunderstanding?
Now Summer looked surprised.
I turned down the proposal. I told them I already have someone I love enough to want to marry.
What? I thought the same, even if you were dating someone. But you're really not with Adam?
Suddenly, tears welled up in Summer's eyes, and in an instant, they spilled over.
No. Sorry. I didn't mean to doubt you, Summer. I can't stop them. Not at all. She seemed happy and relieved, finding out that the person she loved also loved her.
Summer smiled while wiping her tears. I saw an expression on her face that I had never seen before.
I knew then that I wanted to fall in love with all her expressions from here on out. I'll keep in touch, Summer. All the time from now on.
Yeah, me too.
Smiling brightly, she leaned against my shoulder. I couldn't help but cherish the warmth of her presence next to me.
Since this was her workplace, I just barely resisted the urge to hug her tight. The news about how I turned around Summer's company spread quickly throughout the industry.
Many airlines reached out to me, asking for consultations.
I ended up flying all over Japan, and I became incredibly busy. Even though we were both busy, I always traveled using Summer's airline, so we were happy to see each other more often. A year later, Summer and I got married. Though Mr. Irwin was disappointed about the arranged marriage, he was thrilled about me marrying one of his employees. The entire company celebrated us. With so many people watching over us, we embarked on a new journey, but we chose not to live together. I love seeing you work so hard, Summer. And I love seeing you help people and bring smiles to their faces, Bradley. As long as we had these feelings, we knew we'd be fine even apart. Whenever I saw contrails in the sky, I thought of Summer. And whenever I flew on a plane, I wanted to stand tall and meet her. Every day I devoted myself to my work, striving to help those who needed me. Losing a dream is painful and difficult. Just as it was for me. But I also gained so much afterward. I found a rewarding and wonderful career. The things I cultivated for my dream helped me to assist others. And I was able to be with the person I loved most. The end of a dream isn't just filled with sadness. It's also a beginning. So I hope that those who have lost their dreams will hold their heads high and make a new start, and from my current happiness, I'll continue to send encouragement to anyone struggling beyond the skies, now and always.